The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone water jars there for the Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out now and take it to the head waiter." So they took it. And when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, although who had drawn the water knew, the head waiter called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves good wine first, and then when people have drunk freely, an inferior one. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this as the beginning of his signs at Cana in Galilee, and so revealed his glory, and his disciples began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
It's probably my favorite Marian apparition, Our Lady of Lourdes. I like it in a lot of ways, mostly because she's nice in this apparition, right? No one gets really chewed out, or no revelations of hell, things like that. So there's just that. It's very tenderly, very motherly apparition. I did have the good graces of going to France, to Lourdes, France, a few years back. Beautiful experience. So there's just a real motherly connection to Our Lady of Lourdes, I think, for many of us. I always love reading the account of Saint Bernadette, who was the young girl who encountered our Blessed Mother there in the cave. And just the descriptions of how she relates that story later when she writes it down is just really beautiful, very tender. But one thing that catches my eye or attention this time around is how she saw this lovely lady, she called her, who had a nice white dress, and on her shoes were pale yellow roses, and then the rosary in her hand was the same color. Just, beautiful description. But what was kind of neat is that when she felt in that instance the call to pray her rosary, and so she reached in her pocket and prayed, and she was able to pray the Hail Marys. And as she was praying the Hail Marys, Mary's hands were moving through the beads of her rosary. Mary's mouth wasn't moving, but her hand was fingering the rosary beads. And it's just such an interesting image that's worth kind of pondering, at least for me. And to me, it really does speak of the way our Blessed Mother intercedes on our behalf with our Lord. So even today's gospel illustrates that, right? So Jesus and his mother were at a wedding, and the wine ran short. The servants came to Mary. Mary went to Jesus, said, "They have no wine." And then to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." So she interceded on their behalf. And Mary intercedes on our behalf. We know that. We understand it. But we think of, we come to know her as the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother has kind of sits at the right side of the king and has his ear, so to speak. So that's how it was in the Old Testament, and that's the role that Mary plays with Jesus, the King, now that she intercedes on our behalf. And I just say that the rosary is a really powerful way for our Blessed Mother to intercede for us. It's meant towards contemplation. We contemplate the mysteries. Blessed Mother draws us into the mysteries of her Son, Jesus. But yet it's a way for her to intercede on our behalf. And So it's beautiful, it's powerful. I'm sure we've all experienced that. But it's worth pondering that as the rosary is a powerful means of intercession. It's fun to just kind of ponder these things. There's even the yellow rose petals on her feet. Like, that's interesting, And I think, and it caused me to reflect, well, roses, where else do I know roses? I think it's St. Therese, who is all about doling out roses, Well, St. Therese is almost a contemporary to the apparition. She was born just a few years after the apparition and lived, just within that time frame, within the 50 years after the apparitions, is when St. Therese lived. And she's all about, distributing roses to us on earth, like the roses are symbols of God's grace, the answer to our prayers. And maybe that's an image of those roses too, as our Blessed Mother intercedes on our behalf, that the roses on her feet are also our prayers being answered. Grace is distributing to us. So it's just a beautiful feast day. We know it in so many ways, but it's fun to kind of ponder it in new ways, just to see how our Blessed Mother is our mother, and she's our mother who intercedes for us. And a really powerful way of going about that is praying our rosary. It does draw us into the mystery of Christ's life, but it also is a way of our Blessed Mother to pray on our behalf to her Son, and through him have our prayers answered.